What's going on, everyone? My name is Tenebris Infinite, and today we're going to wrap up our week about talking about a weapon pack by talking about a weapon pack. But this time, it wouldn't be for us, but instead for our toaster friends here in Generation Zero, adding a new threat to old enemies across the map of Osterturen that would offer challenging and unique combat experiences. If you dig any of these ideas along the way, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, or if I happen to spark any of your own ideas, please throw them up in the comments below so we can really get a think tank working on this idea here. So, what my thoughts are, every weapon pack, we get to see these weapons drop off the same enemies. So why not buy a pack to spice up those enemies along the way to make the process of gathering our own weapons a little bit, shall we say, more treacherous, adventurous maybe? What I've got in mind is a harvester hauler, a tank that violates our airspace, and a hunter to truly haunt our dreams. This weapon pack wouldn't offer anything other than our own enjoyment and maybe a bit of a challenge, but I think it would be really unique to see. Think of how many games offer us weapon packs, but then how many games offer weapon packs exclusively to be used against you? There's not too many that I can think of. So, as another one of my fun shooting to the breeze type ideas, today I'll tell you dudes about the machine weapon pack that would absolutely spice things up here in Generation Zero. Weapon packs have offered a ton to Generation Zero, expanding on metas, introducing new weapons, and sprucing up machines' loot pools to turn them into literal loot pinatas when you get lucky with RNG. This weapon pack would benefit the machines before we even get to their loot, making the whole process more fun and engaging, and best of all, offering some set locations of reliably challenging fights. So, my thought process is that these could appear as a new paid class variant, a kind of hybridization of Apocalypse and Phoenix class machines into a new class just kind of below the Reaper. A kind of Reaper beta, so to speak. Not sporting any of the shield generators, or, I mean, they could. I totally wouldn't complain if they did, but my idea is more so going alongside the Reaper's thermobaric attack, which was something totally new at the time when it came out. These machines would bring new weapons and loadouts to the game that would offer up the challenge some players might be missing these days. So, enough fluff, let's get to the ideas first with the tank's new weapon. A sound-based gun used more to disorient the player rather than kill them outright. The first real support tank in the game, but with more than enough punch, having dual-mounted Gatling guns to render the character deader than dead. This tank would hit you with a pulse strong enough to knock you off your feet, even with the steady feet perk, and would give your character partial deafness, with maybe some sort of a low ringing noise covering up all the sound in the game. Then would blast away with dual Gatling guns, essentially tearing you apart in your confused and ragdolled state. A real gnarly idea, and maybe a good sign why I shouldn't ever develop video games. This cheesy tank would be deadly to fight, and you would have to know how to use cover efficiently to dodge the sound attack that pretty much launches a concussion wave at you. Then, if this partially deafened state was added, we could see it rear its ugly head in tons of other scenarios. It'd be a status effect that actually affects our character's state instead of just rendering higher damage or damage over time. The dual Gatling guns alone would be terrifying. We know how deadly they are on wolves, but two of them on the same machine? We saw this on the concept art for our Tonki Boyos back before the game launched, and dang it dude, just like the dirt bike, I'm still waiting on that to come to the game. So, a new status affecting weapon, and a dual Gatling gun, throw in maybe some of the purple farty gas, and call it a day dude. I know that kind of potentially makes it sound really simple, and that a new status affecting weapon would probably be maybe a little bit of tough work, but I do also think that there is more than enough foundation for that in the Apex engine to pull it off here in the game. You don't see Sonic-based warfare very often, and especially not in video games, so I think it would be really cool to see, and again, just really unique. Now, for the harvesters, it's a real simple plan. Essentially, just, you know, the big giant mega cannon from Phoenix Rising? Just shrink it down, make like a mini version of it, and slap it on the back of a harvester. Have that harvester literally just like drag it around on, like, you know, a mounted platform with wheels on it or something like that. Turn the harvester into a hauler and instead have it fight with the player from like extreme long distances, launching these artillery salvos at them. It would be absolutely terrifying to hear this noise and just get exploded out of the blue when you're like running around and exploring in Generation Zero. If you gave this thing crazy high firepower, like think tank with railgun, but even worse, then it would be absolutely deadly at the same time as being terrifying. And we would be on our guard in areas where we know that this harvester spawns, looking for one of these howitzer cannons being dragged around by the harvester so that we could potentially take out the harvester and maybe have to take out the howitzer first. Maybe that could have like its own independent AI or something. Be really cool, I think. Then finally, the hunter to haunt our dreams, the stealthy assassin hunter that we need to see. Even if it's not in this pack motif, I think a stealth-based enemy in Generation Zero would be amazing to see, and the enemy that best fits that would be a hunter. Getting our first real stealth weapon in the game was what kind of pieced this all together for me. I've had the idea of the sound-based tank and the hauler harvester for quite a while now, but I couldn't think of a fun way to spice up hunters enough to warrant being in a paid pack. Until we got this bow, and I was thinking, poison rounds? We have no purpose for poison arrows ourselves on machines, but they have their poison rounds for us that the Apoco Doggos use. Imagine if a hunter with an arm-mounted 50 cal would snipe you from a distance, applying the biohazard effect and whittling your health down as you try to track out this hunter's position. It'd be a crazy fight to have in this game, and there are ways this could be brought to its maximum potential just right off the bat. Now, as I'm kinda half-acting, half-not-acting out here, imagine if we were sniped, but it didn't make the typical sniper sound for us to track. It didn't engage us in the typical combat heads-up that we get, and there was no visible light sources from the machine to track out. It would be bonkers, man. At nighttime, they'd be a terrifying foe, and during the day, their low profile would be equally hard to track. We have this old concept art of a hunter with a sniper arm, and this is exactly what I have in mind for our stealthy hunter-assassin. Not killing you with outright firepower, but instead a reverse Uno card of guerrilla warfare. Then getting 2 or 3 of these machines in the same place, and dang it, man, that's a no-fly zone right there. So, a spicy idea, eh? I don't normally pitch out too many machine ideas like this one, so I really want to know here, what do you dudes think of my ideas? Do you think that they fit the game? Are higher difficulty machines something that you'd like to see too? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, creative ideas, or secret pasta recipes down in the comment section below. But for now, thank you very much for watching and hearing out my wacky, potentially rage-inducing ideas. Stay awesome, and I will catch you all in the next one. Also, please subscribe if you haven't yet. If I could get 100 billion subscribers, then we could get this poor bear fixed up and out of this frickin' cave. Whoa, fuck!